The NFL, man. The Washington Redskins changing the name. Look, this has been going on for a while. It's been coming. It's been coming. Look, when it comes to names of sports teams, where they're the Cleveland Indians, Washington Redskins, whatever, the Chiefs, the Warriors, that's all positive. That's positive. All those names were not to disparage the native peoples of this land. It's to honor them and how friggin' tough they were. It's a positive thing. What do you want to think of? When you think about your lineage, for those of you that aren't brainwashed liberals, who want to think of all their peoples as just, peace, love, and tree huggers, which is a bunch of bullshit anyhow. You think about where you came from. Do you want to think that you come from the meek? Or do you want to think that you come from friggin' warriors? What the hell? And it's a violent sport. I mean, just change the name to the Washington Sheep. We can even do like a wool blend with the uniforms. And the crowds could go, ba, 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 ba. I could hear the crowd now. The whole stadium, ba, roaring like sheep. It's so ridiculous. Are you even still watching the NFL? I stopped watching football, and I grew up watching football. I was born the year of the first Super Bowl. Football was a staple in my household. I played a lot of sandlot football when I was a kid. When I got to high school, freshman year, I went to try out for a team, and I blew a bunch of practices because I went and had fun, and then I never did it again because I was too busy partying. But, football for me, as I watched the progression, we had Joe Namath, we had Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett. There was a bunch of great players that stuck with their teams. And when free agency came into play and it became all about the money, that was weird. That was weird. When salaries started getting up to tens of millions of dollars, that was a problem. And I don't disparage athletes for getting paid a decent amount of money. A decent amount of money. Because you can get injured. You spend your whole life working to be an athlete to get in the top echelon, and you play professional sports. You're playing a game for a living, and then all of a sudden you get taken out. Well, you need something to live on. And it's a shame that a lot of these guys get damaged and have been getting damaged for years, and they weren't getting taken care of. So I'm glad they got that taken care of. But come on, it's a fucking game, man. And listen to what athletes have to say. Who gives a shit? Look, there's a few athletes, who are just brilliant people, super smart. They don't have to be athletes. They could be doctors or scientists, but they play sports because it's interesting. You don't know. I keep saying I got to break that habit. You know what I'm saying? I got to break that habit. You're a kid. If you come from a shithole town or city, all the crappy towns and cities where you think your only way out is athletics, and you work super hard your whole life, and then you get into university, and then you eventually go on to the professional level, that's admirable. That takes a lot of hard work. I admire that. It's just unfortunate that the last 30 years or so, they get into the university, and then they get turned into a bunch of little Marxists, Like, I'm all for getting kids right out of high school and put them in the pros, man. Just bypass the indoctrination phase, that would be good. I'd like to see that. But it's a huge waste of time watching it. You can spend all day on a Sunday, all day, just watching one football game after another. Think about how much time you're wasting, how productive you could be. You could be reading books. You could be watching I learn more from watching old movies on Turner Classic Movies than I do from watching football. You could build a bike, go do some exercise, spend time with your family. How about you read the Federalist Papers sometime? Read the Constitution with your family and discuss, Like, learn some, get on YouTube, watch some YouTube videos, learn something, how to build like an AR-15 from an 80% lower. Something productive with your time. Because it's crazy now. So you got free agency, I watched that happen, and then I watched the rules to protect the quarterback and whatnot, and then all the crazy rule changes every season, and just the nonsense that we all put up with for a long time. And when players started spearing one another with their heads. Where the fuck did that come from? Well, I was taught to tackle with your head up, so you see what the hell's going on. You don't injure yourself. You tackle with your shoulder. It's just, it was weird, you know. When Brett Favre started playing for the Vikings, my friggin' headaches, that's when I knew nothing matters anymore. You just can't count on anything. It's all over. It's all over. That's pretty much about the time I stopped watching football. So, you know, just stop watching. It's ridiculous. You know what we should do? The Washington Sheep. And now that all these people are moving out of red states, or excuse me, out of blue states into red states, like people leaving California and whatnot, some of these blue states are going to, some of the red states rather, are going to start having enough people in them to where they can have a football team. And you know, football's all about these rivalries. So maybe Wyoming should get a team called the Wolves, you know, the bloodthirsty Wolves, and their arch rival could be the Sheep. Right? So it could be the Wyoming bloodthirsty Wolves versus the Washington Sheep. That would be good. Just a thought.